In wrestling, secret communication is often done by subtly calling spots or giving specific hand signals.
Spins him around. Wait a minute! Ali countered the RKO! I can't believe it!
And dude, when I hit it and I pinned him, if you like turn the volume all the way up, you can hear Randy as he goes, "Fuck yeah!"
For this video, we'll be delving into these moments, as well as the hidden out-of-character conversations wrestlers had during matches and promos.
And in the middle of his crushing, I got a genuine message from Phil. Never a more real thing said.
Perhaps to relay information, disclose an injury, or simply say thanks.
Oh my goodness! Coast to coast!
Oh, I'm okay. You hear that all the time in the ring. Just give me a second. I didn't hear that.
Most of them you wouldn't have heard on camera, but we know about them now after the fact.
I can't do this 619, but I told AJ, I'll drop toe hold you. And you can see me drop toe hold and lean against the ropes, and I say, clothesline me, okay. Clothesline me so I don't have to do this move.
Today, we'll hear from the talent themselves about the times wrestlers secretly communicated in WWE.
He told me, pick up the title, the same as he told Noah, put the foot on me or whatever, because he liked to make sure, this is the guy.
In Hulk Hogan's Real American Netflix docuseries, the Hulkster revealed private things he said to some of his most famous opponents in the ring. At WrestleMania 3 vs. Andre the Giant, Hogan shared a personal moment with the 8th wonder of the world during the initial stare-down. Hulk has famously said how both men got boozed up backstage before the bout, with Hogan unsure if Andre was going to do business. So Hulk's final few words before they locked horns was the last bit of calmness before the impending storm that was their iconic showdown.
It was the first time I've ever been in the ring not knowing what was going to happen.
Look at the size of the giant. What's Hogan saying to him, I wonder? What could Hogan possibly be saying to him?
Man, I love you to death, brother. Let me tell you something. Thank you so much, man, for helping me out all these years. That was the conversation. And he looked pissed. He just looked like a rabid great white shark, like he's gonna tear me apart.
The Hulkster also divulged what the Ultimate Warrior said to him during their match at WrestleMania 6.
Probably about 3-minute mark, he wanted to end the match. Let's go home, let's go home. I said, no, we're not going home. And I said, no, bro. If you're gonna beat me, you're gonna earn it. Walked him around the ring for another 15, 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. He was totally out of gas and couldn't even walk or breathe.
The Warrior was renowned for sprinting down the aisle, so his gas tank was usually low once the matches got underway, hence why he was sucking wind early on against Hogan.
I just grabbed him in a rear chin lock, and he was panicking. He's shaking his arms, trying to do the Warrior thing. Let's go, let's get out of here. I said, bro, it's 5 minutes, man. You ain't going nowhere. You just calm down, catch your breath, and let me know when you're ready, because these people still be rumbling. So just get your shit straight and calm down, because he wanted to get out of the ring right away.
What was the crowd reaction like? Or
was I don't know. I think, I'm getting to a place in this interview where these questions they're sort of getting redundant. Like I'm supposed to, every hair on my neck that went up on every match that I had, I'm supposed to remember it. It was a job.
Hogan beating Andre and the Warrior beating Hogan were both seen as a passing of the torch. Another one of these moments occurred following the August 15, 2005 episode of Monday Night Raw. In the post-show dark match, the team of Hulk, John Cena, and Batista were victorious in a 6-man tag. Afterward, John as the WWE Champion and Batista as the World Heavyweight Champion allowed the Hulkster to pose with their respective belts. It was a nice tribute with the present acknowledging the past, while Hogan endorsed and posed with the company's 2 top stars. Hulk parading both world titles was referenced 20 years later, when Cena retired at Saturday night's main event on December 13, 2025. World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk hatched an idea with WWE champ Cody Rhodes, so they could acknowledge John the same way he did for Hulk in 05.
I think the universe does silly things sometimes. I can't remember who sent me that clip, and I knew there was a reason I saw it, because I saw it right before that day Cena was retiring. But I just thought it's symbolic.
And then when it's over, I'll come back.
Yeah, I think it's
grab the title.
Power through.
Ready to rock.
And you want to put the title on his shoulders, what you said? Yeah. Does he know?
No.
Okay. Let's go.
I'm sure he'll refuse, and then we'll say, hey. And I'll say, hey.
Okay.
You did it. You and Dave did it for Hogan.
Yeah.
We're doing it for you. Deal with it.
Yeah.
I was a little frustrated that Punk came up with an idea and I didn't. And for him to bring up this Batista-Hogan moment, I thought that's great, that's perfect.
It was poetic and emotionally fitting, especially given how influential Cena was to Punk and Cody's careers. It was particularly touching to hear what Punk told John before he and Rhodes gave Cena their titles.
We're going to put one of these on each of your shoulders, and you're going to deal with it. Because I watched you and Dave do this to Hogan. And Hogan's not here, so we're paying it forward. Love you. Love you.
Earlier in the year, on the June 27, 2025 SmackDown, Punk told John how he felt about him. On the show, it was a rap segment to hype up their match at Night of Champions. But amidst Punk mocking Cena's old basic thugonomics persona, the Second City Saints slipped in a personal message to the never-seen 17. They were set to wrestle one another for the final time, so having been such integral opponents, this little moment summed it up nicely and put it all into perspective.
And in the middle of his crushing, I got a genuine message from Phil. Never a more real thing said.
In that moment, I had to do that to kind of center him and bring him into the moment because it was emotional for me, and I felt it needed to be emotional for him too.
Right in the middle of his moment, he gave me a very real and authentic moment. And it was very special.
Another highlight on the John Cena Last Time Is Now farewell tour was his classic against AJ Styles at Crown Jewel 2025. The bout was an homage to John and AJ's most famous opponents, whereby they each performed numerous finishers of their old friends and rivals. It got to the point where the hot crowd in Perth, Australia began chanting for moves to be hit, including that of Rey Mysterio's 619 for Cena to do. John knew he couldn't pull it off, but Cena at least made it look like he was going to, though not before telling Styles to counter him.
Can't do the 619, but I told AJ, I'll drop toe hold you. And you can see me drop toe hold and lean against the ropes, and I say, clothesline me, okay? Clothesline me so I don't have to do this move.
AJ told his side of the story during a conversation with Chris Van Vliet.
They were chanting 619, 619, because they knew what we were doing at this point.
Yeah.
And he goes, so the ref walks over and he goes, 619. I'm like, me to John? No. John's gonna 619 you. John's gonna 619 me. All right. And so I sell over there. He gives me the drop toe hold, and I heard him go, stop me before I get to you. And I didn't say anything. He goes, hey, stop me as I go for this. I didn't say anything. Stop me before we go to this! Like, he yelled, like, okay! And then he goes, and I clothesline him. And I joke around, like, if John would have tried the 619, it may have turned into the 61. I'm not sure. So that was just kind of funny to me at that time.
Thanks for almost taking the 619.
I was waiting. I was like, I've never seen him do this before, but all right.
John has never been shy in loudly shouting out spots during matches. It's something the fans have noticed for years and had lots of fun with.
Oh, into a sleeper hold.
I'd rather be heard saying, hit me, mother, than saying nothing and have crickets.
Some of Cena's opponents, however, have had a bee in their bonnet regarding John's yelling in the squared circle. This includes Cody Rhodes, who roasted Cena's spot calling on the Good Hang podcast.
John is pretty great at the magic, and except for one area that is widely known to wrestling fans and wrestlers. John will not talk low or in carny, as we would say. Like if I need to tell you, Amy ducked the clothesline, I'd say like Dizuck, something. This little carny. It sounds like
a little
Snoop.
like fake language, like a pig Latin.
It's like a pig Latin meets Snoop talk. But John yells everything that's going to happen in the ring as loud as he can possibly yell. He calls it, for the first 4 rows, an interactive experience.
Cody also reflected a moment during he and Cena's SummerSlam 2025 match, whereby John was set to AA the American Nightmare through the announce table. Before this could happen though, the last real champion had something to tell Rhodes.
He's about to slam me with his big finishing move, which is the attitude adjustment from a table to another table. So it's highly dangerous. It's going to hurt. We're going to do it the safest way we can. But you can hear him yelling at me why I'm on his shoulders, that he can't see because my arm is over his eyes. And I never spoke back to John. I never wanted to speak back. He's, a mentor to me. But it was one of those moments where I thought, buddy, I'm the one doing this. I don't just throw me. Like I'm not worried about your He's screaming at the top of his lungs, I can't see.
Unlike Cena, referees have had to be way more subtle with how they communicate to wrestlers. Historically, this included speaking Carney, like mentioned in our last entry, not to mention the various different hand signals and cues. Veteran ref Mike Chioda explained this while chatting to Maven Huffman.
All the time back in the day, we used to speak Carney. You know, and I remember a time we didn't have the IFBs. Really? You get the cues from Mark Eaton with a pencil, go home cue like this. Really? Hell yeah. Okay. And we'd get the pencil, and he'd give us the fingers. Okay. What would the fingers mean? So it'd be 10 minutes left. Okay. Boom, boom mean 9. 9. Gotcha. This would mean 5, then 3 would mean 8. 5, 7. Wow. Boom, 1, 6, then 1, 5, then 4, 3, 2, then 2, pencil in the mouth. Go home now. Pencil in the mouth is go home. Yep. And you'd have to circle that ring while you're paying attention to your match and look over at the timekeeper nonchalantly. Yeah. And then pass it off. Mm-hmm. Then the IFBs came, which is great. Right. Because they could talk to you and tell you what they're seeing and what they want differently or what's going on.
Usually fans wouldn't be able to tell what Chioda was saying to the talent, save for one example in a tag match when The Miz and Asuka faced Big E and Carmella in January 2018. This was during the mixed match challenge concept, where the tag partners were encouraged to talk trash on the apron so they could be heard on camera. Because the mics around the ring were enhanced, the referee's voice could be picked up too, hence why we were able to hear Chioda telling Miz the finish had been changed mid-match.
Asuka's going over.
Big E later revealed in an interview with Sam Roberts how he and the other wrestlers went about changing the finish on the fly.
We had a finish, and mid-match, we're several minutes into this match. Mid-match, we get something from the ref that not only so Miz was supposed to be up on me, now it's Asuka up on Carmella mid-match. So not only do we have to figure out how to get the women in the ring near the end seamlessly, Asuka too, English is not her native language. She has to communicate with Carmella on the fly to somehow get to the finish. And we got it all. Those two were such pros. They made it all work, and we got there beautifully.
A wrestler who later regretted not changing the finish to their match was Randy Orton. We're referring to when he faced Mustafa Ali at Hell in a Cell 2019. Ali had a unique counter he wanted to use for the RKO, but Orton needed convincing.
And he's thought about it for like a good minute. He was kind of looking away, and I was like, oh man, maybe he probably hates the idea. He goes, I'm not concerned about like protecting the RKO. He goes, I'm more concerned for you. I go, well, how so? He goes, if you botch this bullshit handstand thing that you're trying to do, you know, like Randy Dog people, you do that flippy shit, right? So he's like, if you botch that, he's like, they're just gonna think that you took a really shitty RKO. And he goes, they love the RKO. So he's like, they're gonna boo you. And he's like, they're gonna think you botched it. And this thing, he goes, I think it's a bad idea. And I just looked at them and I go, Randy, there's no way I fucked this up. I go, please let me hear the move. And he was like, all right, don't say I didn't warn you.
The handstand reversal worked a treat and got a believable near fall. It was one of the best and most creative RKO counters.
And dude, when I hit it and I pinned him, if you like turn the volume all the way up, you can hear Randy as he goes, fuck yeah.
Spins him around. Arco, wait a minute! Ali countered the RKO! I can't believe it! Roll up almost caught Randy!
Randy liked it so much, he said it should have been the finish after they got back through the curtain.
We come out, everyone's like high-fiving, and Randy puts it on. He's like, man, we should just put the kid over with that. And then just walks away. I was like, yeah, we should have, right? No, we're going to do it again.
The Viper also showed his appreciation to Ali for the fun match, with a nice pat following the 3 count.
So even like after, I mean, obviously like Randy wins like 10 seconds later, whatever like that. But at the end of the match, you kind of see him give me the little like the sunk, like, Cage, we got it, Randy.
Ali rolling, RKO!
I think that's my biggest, like, you go up to like one of the biggest stars in the industry, you call your shot, and you hit it. And he goes, yeah. So that was a very rewarding moment. And people bring it up all the time.
Another instance of a talent thanking their opponent for a good match happened at Payback 2013, when CM Punk defeated Chris Jericho. It was Punk's first appearance since losing at WrestleMania 29 to The Undertaker 2 months prior. This, coupled with the Payback show being in Punk's hometown of Chicago, meant it was the biggest match of the night. The wrestlers barely planned anything beforehand, and chose to mostly call it in the ring. Chris revealed this on Talk Is Jericho.
And he showed up that day, and there was a little bit of... I think for a while he wasn't even sure if he was going to be there, but Vince wanted me to start the angle anyways. And he did decide to come, and we put together this match, which was just amazing. We worked so good, and hadn't worked each other for a while, just tried completely new stuff and didn't really call a lot. as he was pinning him, he goes, "I love you, man. Like, oh, this is so good."
The two men stole the show in a superb contest, with Punk coming out on top. The Second City Saint showed his gratitude to Y2J on his way to winning the match. Darby Allin had a similar interaction to Punk and Jericho's during a match with Jeff Hardy on the May 11, 2022 edition of AEW Dynamite. Darby was wrestling one of his idols in Jeff, so it was important he did a big spot so he could pay respect to Hardy, while at the same time doing yet another one of his high-risk stunts, just like both he and the charismatic Enigma were known for. This came in the form of a dive onto a steel bed of chairs from atop a ladder. Following the bump, Darby made sure to check on Jeff, but he did so in unique fashion, as discussed when talking to Chris Van Vliet.
If you look back at when I did the front flip off of the ladder onto Jeff, I whisper in his ear when we're laying down. I'm like, that was fun. Yeah, just to let him know that, because a lot of these spots, man, when you do some crazy stuff, you don't know how the person you're wrestling is going to be after it. So it's kind of good to give him the whole, like, dude, this is cool.
I'm going to take a chance. My God.
Jeff and Darby were fine despite their fear-defying risk, but the same can't be said for Seth Rollins during his match with Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel 2025. This bout also featured someone checking on their opponent, only in this case they were not okay. That's because Seth tore his rotator cuff after an insane coast-to-coast diving headbutt. Rollins immediately knew something was wrong.
Oh my goodness, coast to coast!
Oh, I'm okay. You hear that all the time in the ring. Just give me a second. I didn't hear that.
It's not immediately clear, but I thought I saw that landing didn't look right.
I didn't think he was as hurt.
Seth and Cody finished things out and even did more big moves. However, Rollins could barely hide his emotions during the post-match celebrations as he spoke to creative figurehead Triple H.
I looked at him and said, "How bad is it?" And he said, "I'm fucked."
Seth ultimately spent 6 months out of action. Seth's faction, The Vision, appeared to be snakebit in terms of injuries. Both Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed got hurt 4 months after Rollins. Disaster struck for Reed on the February 23rd, 2026 Raw, and just like Seth before him, he knew straight away it was bad. Reed is expected to be fit again in mid to late 2026. Meanwhile, Rollins returned in time for WrestleMania 42 and didn't miss a beat upon coming back. Compare that to The Undertaker in '99. The Phenom missed the next year's Mania and was quite sluggish in the ring upon his return. His first pay-per-view singles match back came against Kurt Angle at Fully Loaded 2000. The contest was nothing to write home about, but Kurt tells a funny story of making Taker crack up during the bout. Angle wasn't quite ready to take one of The Undertaker's trademark soup bone punches. As the Olympic gold medalist feared the Phenom was going to clock him for real, the Olympian explained the situation on the Kurt Angle show.
The funny thing is, first time I worked with him, it was that pay-per-view in 2000. He grabbed my chin with his hand. He was getting his arm ready to hit me, and I started going like this. And he started laughing. He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He said, "I'm not going to touch you." He said, "You're a pussy." He punches me, and it didn't touch me. I just didn't know. I thought, okay, this guy's big, he's strong, he's got long arms, he's gearing up to punch me. I'm going to turn my head. So every time I see him, the first thing he does, he goes.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Here in Texas is you've been apologizing all night long, haven't you?
The Undertaker probably returned before he was truly ready in 2000. The same is true for Paige in 2017. She explained in her book how her cardio wasn't up to scratch when she got back in the ring on the December 4, 2017 Raw. She'd been out for 17 months with a neck injury and would sadly only last 1 month until her neck issues sidelined her again, this time for 5 years. Before that though, Paige worked her return match against Sasha Banks. Paige describes being so blown up, it led to a wardrobe malfunction. Paige didn't know for sure if her wardrobe had legitimately malfunctioned, so had to ask the other wrestlers at ringside. However, she had to repeat the question multiple times before getting an answer.
To complicate matters, I was wearing a pair of shorts that in the midst of this now longer than expected wrestling match, felt like they had split apart at the crotch. My Absolution team, made up of girls who were new to televised matches, having debuted just 1 week earlier, was gathered and cheering for me from one side of the ring. I rolled to be next to them. Hey, are my shorts split? But since these girls were super new to televised matches, they didn't want to chance talking to me and being caught on camera doing so. They just smiled at me blankly. That was of no fucking help. I rolled to the other side of the ring where among the female wrestlers we were up against were Bayley and Mickie James. Both of them old school pros. I called out to them, "Hey, can you see my gimmick?" I asked, trying to be subtle. "You're wearing a red thong," Mickey said in reply.
Lastly, we'll look at the beast, Brock Lesnar. He's someone that's never been afraid to sell for wrestlers that he likes, not just in big pay-per-view matches, but also during the build on television. Case in point when Brock gave Obafemi the rub in the lead up to their WrestleMania 42 clash. On the March 16, 2026 Raw, Lesnar gave Oba a subtle instruction that made the ruler look like $1 million. Brock put over Oba strong enough on TV to where the fans believed the ruler could take the beast and beat him at Mania. It was the same for Drew McIntyre before his battle with Lesnar at WrestleMania 36.
He doesn't like people, and once you kind of get to know him a little bit and he realizes you're a stand-up person and you're in it for the right reasons, he'll go out of his way to make you look good, just like what he's doing with Oba right now. It's pretty much the same treatment that I got, one-upping him every step of the way. Brock never one-upped me one time, all the way till I beat him.
Brock sold like hell for Drew every time they were on screen together, especially the March 2nd, 2020 Raw, where the two fed off the energy of the crowd as McIntyre kicked Lesnar's head off multiple times with the Claymore.
What was the first moment where you went, oh, Brock's actually like, he must like me?
Where I Claymored him a couple of times in the ring, I think, and I Claymored him on the stage, and they were chanting one more time. And I just stepped back hoping he would react to it, and he started feeding up. I didn't have to tell him, he would be the one to tell me. But he fed back up and he took another one because the fans wanted another one.
They called 2 audibles during the angle, including one where Brock told Drew what to do so they could finish the segment in the strongest way possible. McIntyre reflected on it all during a chat with Chris Van Vliet.
And it's out there now, so I can talk about it. He told me, pick up the title, the same as he told Oba, put the foot on me or whatever, because he wanted to make sure, this is the guy. And if Brock Lesnar is able to be dominated by somebody, this is a force to be reckoned with.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on wrestlers who had infinite aura in one moment. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.